Your Humanities Half Hour is brought to you by the Northern Marianas Humanities Council.
Welcome to Your Humanities Half Hour. I'm Catherine Perry, and today it's my pleasure to be in the classroom of the school year 2023 CNMI State Teacher of the Year, Donovan Tudela. Donovan, thanks for having me today.
Thank you for being here. I appreciate you being here.
So we are about a week when we're taping this away from the start of school. You're here getting ready. What are you looking forward to this year?
I look forward to welcoming students back to the school campus, most especially into room C103 here at Saipan Southern. I always look forward to seeing students come to school on the first day, and just the anticipation, the fear, the looks on their faces, and me being able to say, hey, good morning, welcome back, it's going to be okay, we're going to have a fun school year, just kind of easing their fears of the first days of school, and just really just looking forward into the future and making memories with these students is what I look forward to the most. Yeah.
You are one of the youngest teachers of the year. How did you feel when you found out that you had been selected?
Well, it was very overwhelming for me at first. I was nominated by my school as the school level teacher of the year. I submitted my application for the state level, and I really wasn't thinking much as to whether or not I'd make top 5. I was like, I don't think I'll make it. I'm just a novice teacher, at least I believed I was, and there's no way anything in my application will make me worthy of this title or of this honor. Then come August of 2022, when the top 5 finalists were announced, and I didn't actually find out through the email that was broadcasted. A coworker of mine came in and just started screaming, "Congratulations!" I'm like, for what? I was with a student at the time, and she says, "You're top 5." I was like, top 5 for what? For teacher of the year? I'm like, no. I checked my email, and then my phone was just bursting with all of these congratulatory messages, and I'm like, my face was published in the email that was sent out by PSS. I was overwhelmed. I was like, oh, the pressure is real. But I had a feeling that this was a nice opportunity for me to progress in my career. There was a time about somewhere within my 4th and 5th year teaching where I felt stuck. I felt that I've done all that I could as a teacher, and that there was really no room for me to grow. But with this opportunity, it just opened my eyes to realize that it was the perfect opportunity for me to step out of that I guess quicksand that I was stuck in for a while. So I went through the interview process, I went through the classroom observation process, and come the day of September 26th of 2022, and I was announced State Teacher of the Year, I was just in shock. I thought this was a dream. I thought I was just anticipating this to happen, but I think this was my calling. This was the time for me to realize that I'm worthy of doing more than what I thought I could do for my students and my island community.
What draws you to teaching? Why do you teach?
I teach because I love sharing knowledge with people. Anything that I know, I'm more than willing to share, and I get excited about sharing. I also come from a family of educators, but none of them who teach math. And just seeing the impact they have and the way they form relationships with their students, it was so inspiring. And I told myself, I want to be like them one day. Maybe not teach at the elementary level, maybe not teach at the middle school level or be an administrator, but I want to make some sort of a difference, whether it's at any level. And I felt that was my journal to write through those experiences and through that dream of wanting to teach. And I also love working with people. I try to be a people person. I was told by many that I am, but I feel that this is my happy place. This is the right profession for me, and I can only expect better things and more exciting things in the future.
So this semester you're teaching Algebra 2 and AP Pre-Calculus. Other than the benchmarks, shall we say, what is it you hope your students walk away with after a day or after a semester?
The biggest thing for me is that they walk out of my classroom becoming responsible citizens and critical thinkers. I like to tell students it's not about the learning of math that we do in the classroom. It's how you present yourself, how you carry yourself out in the real world. To me, I don't really need to, I personally don't really care if you can memorize the quadratic formula by heart, but what I do care more about is that you're punctual, you turn in your work on time, things that the real world would look into an applicant for a job, for instance, or perhaps expectations of the military. Just setting the bar high and the standards and expectations high for students will make them more, I guess, responsible and better citizens for our society, because they will eventually be our leaders in the future. And I consider this profession an investment in my future, in a sense where I know that I've done my part and that I feel safe and that I can trust the people that are going to take care of my generation and the generations to come.
Walking into your classroom this afternoon, there is actually a lot of art in this classroom for being a math classroom. Why is that?
Personally, I don't really know as to why that is. It's just it comes and goes. I see different types of students that come to my classroom. I have students who are very visual learners. I have students who are very hands-on. I have students who prefer to listen, who are better at performing. And over the years, I've come to realize that I need to cater to my students' learning preferences and strengths. And so I give them the opportunity to choose how they want to demonstrate their learning, their understanding of things, whether it's if I want them to create a graph of some sort, I give them the option to make artwork. I mean, it's something that they can bring to the table, or if they want to write a song, or if they want to blog about it, right? Things that get them excited. And I just like showing it. I feel like that's the biggest key to having students demonstrate their learning is through things that you can really see. I'm not about those paper-based projects where you gotta write all your definitions and justifications. I mean, if it's something you're proud of, I will hang it up on my walls. I hang it up from the ceilings, and this is something that every student can come in to see. Like, whoa, this looks a bit intimidating, but it looks fun, and it brings color to the room.
I'm looking in the corner at that giant Mona Lisa comprised of maybe 20 or 25 individual sheets of paper. Was that like something that what were you teaching there? I suppose each sheet was made by a student, but yes.
So that was the time, remember my second year of teaching when I taught geometry for the very first time. We were studying the concept of dilations, where you either enlarge or shrink an image. And so if you take a look at the lower left-hand corner, that's the original.
Yes.
And so if you walk closer to the paper, it kind of looks like it had been printed on grid lines. And so those individual grid lines are represented through each of the 8.5 by 11 inch sheets. And the task at hand was for the students to match their sheet number to the grid box on the original, and they had to replicate it. And eventually what happened was students were more concerned about perfecting their individual box. Mm-hmm. And then later on it kind of turned into, because it was a 45-minute activity, this was post-YouTube. This was post-YouTube.
Okay.
And so I was like, this is your task, get it done, and let's see what it comes out to look like. So they were doing each individual, and then someone was like, we only have 20 minutes left, and we're like not even done yet. It took one student to think about the idea of, hey, let's divide the entire picture into 4 different quadrants. The upper left-hand folks, quadrant 2, you guys do this. And so they thought about bringing everything together.
Teamwork?
Yes. It wasn't the intent.
Yeah.
I didn't tell them that they needed teamwork to make this happen. It just kind of happened naturally, especially with the pressure of time. Mm-hmm. And so in the original, there were some boxes had nothing in the background. So I said, just draw a little flower, but obviously don't put a flower up in the sky. Make it realistic. And that's what they came up with. And I'm proud of them. And And I told them, I said, I'm going to keep this for as long as I'm teaching in this classroom. And I do have some students from that same class who walk in as visitors, and they are shocked to see that Mona Lisa is literally the first person that greets them as they open the door. I could have chosen a different portrait of a character or a famous person, but this was just kind of something that I put out the back of my pocket there. It's just kind of like a quick activity just to kind of segue into resuming the school year after Typhoon U2 hit the island.
Like you said, making them feel comfortable in the classroom. Out of all of the subjects that you could have chosen to specialize in, why math?
I've always been a person who was just fond of numbers. My family from my father's side owned a small store, a small business back home, or back in the day. And I remember always being fascinated with the cash register, balancing the sales at the end of the day, or even just signing the purchase orders or the receipts from the vendors that come to deliver merchandise. I was kind of geared towards business, but once I started understanding a little bit more about what it's like to have a business, I was like, I think I'm good with the numbers. And then I just had phenomenal teachers in middle school and high school. And it wasn't until my junior year of high school where I was already, I had my heart set on teaching math. I didn't know what exactly I was going to do with it, but I was like, I'm going to try it. I did have some downfalls in my junior and senior year. The math just got really hard, and the teacher at the time was just too advanced and too fast for me. And I told myself, I'm going to go to school to be a math teacher, to not be that type of teacher who just was very quick to teach the lesson, because I am a
no
victim.
Spices in the lesson.
There you go.
Just like,
right. Let's keep it bland
starch,
for now.
Eat your meat.
Right. So, I mean, and this happened to be the same teacher's classroom. So when I was told I was going to be given C103, I was like, I need to bring this classroom to a whole different world.
Yeah.
So I don't recognize this classroom as the classroom that I was in high school. I recognize it now as the classroom for all students who take this class, and pretty much where the magic with numbers happen, shapes, and just thinking outside the box. Yeah. So the room is equipped with 4 walls, but the moment the classroom is filled with students, the walls just come down and the world is at their fingertips. Yeah.
We're chatting today with 2023 CNMI State Teacher of the Year, Donovan Tudela. We'll be back with more after this break.
In Northern Marianas Humanities Council, Bula Guinahanya puri historian Marianas dan kultura. Sinyon soda SCCNN formacion gi zon mami website nmhcouncil.org, pat bisita gi YouTube, pat Facebook. Guahaloque diferentes clasen leblu na sinya unfan. In Northern Marianas Humanities Council, hazuzura todo I experiencia tautau.
Welcome back to Your Humanities Half Hour. We are with the 2023 CNMI State Teacher of the Year, Donovan Tudela. Donovan, a lot of people have heard the phrase, tourism is everybody's business. You feel very strongly that education is the whole community's business.
Yes, I do strongly believe that, because it takes an entire community to upbring a child, whether it be through the teachings of the culture, or whether it be just kind of basic citizenship. I feel everybody should be involved. It should not just be teachers and school administrators or the families. Everybody should be involved. That way we know that we are investing as a community at large in our future. I truly believe that if we invest and we get everybody involved, that we would be setting up our future for when we grow old or when we retire, knowing that we have done our part, knowing that we have set the foundation for what our future is going to be like, because we have leaders who are going to step in. We have community folks who are going to take care of these various programs that we used to run one day. And we're going to have leaders of our military who are equipped with the knowledge to succeed and lead. So that's just something that I feel very strongly about, is that education is everybody's business. Everybody should be involved. I mean, it's in one way or another, large or small. We all can be part of a child's life, and that's through getting involved in if they have projects, lending a helping hand, sharing our expertise with them, feeding them knowledge that could not otherwise be taught in the classroom. I mean, these are very invaluable experiences for our students, and although they may not necessarily get a grade for it for each of the classes they take, but they walk away with a larger basket of knowledge than they would have otherwise taken out of the classroom, or even after they graduate from high school. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's almost like you're saying, care and take the time to interact with the student and pass on or help them any way you can.
Right, definitely, yeah.
What would you want parents to know as the teacher of their child? How can parents best work with yourself or other teachers, especially say for high school?
Right. Well, regardless of the level or the grade of the child, it's really just being able to show up to parent PTSA meetings, or when we have opportunities to meet with parents for progress report checks or even report cards, or even if it means just being able to regularly communicate with us. We would send emails at times and just to give some status updates on their children in school, and then just even getting like a nice thank you so much for this email, or yes, I'll be there for the meeting, or how else can I help? We are limited with what we can do in the classroom. Having parents join us just makes the learning experience better for our students. And I see that we can work hand in hand to accomplish great things. And with the families and the parents' support, who knows where these students can go. I can only see a bright and promising future. Like I mentioned earlier, with education being everybody's business, it really starts at home. Giving that support to your child, if they have a project that's coming up, maybe perhaps asking your child, how can I help? Mm-hmm. Or what do you need for me to provide for you so that you can be successful, right? Anything that contributes to the child's success or getting a particular task done, or perhaps even just extending into the school and say, I wanna know more about what's going on in the classroom, or I want to know how my personal expertise can benefit your classroom. I mean, I teach math, but who knows what these parents have in terms of skill sets. Mm-hmm. I mean, if we have some sort of carpenter who has a child in my class, mm-hmm. I would love for that carpenter to come in and talk a little bit about, measuring and cutting wood, mm-hmm. or anything like that. I mean, it's not necessarily what I teach, but I mean, that is just, it's still math related, but at the same time, it's the students in the classroom are learning from their peers as parents. Mm-hmm. And I feel that's really the spark that we need in education at times. It's more parent engagement and more parent involvement. And that's actually something our school's trying to do this year. We just recently hosted a parent engagement summit this past weekend at PIC. And we plan to do more of those regularly throughout the year. It's really so much to bring parents together and really get them on board with what we're doing, so that way there's that sense of uniformity somehow, and we hope that helps increase students' morale, student performance, as well as maybe perhaps also reduce student attendance issues or any behavior issues that we may anticipate in the school year. But really, that is the key. It starts off with the school connecting with the parents and families, and then once that connection is established, we can start to broadcast our efforts and our ideas and thoughts into the community. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You mentioned maybe having a parent who has a skill come in and share in the classroom. What's a typical lesson or day like in your class? Do you have a set? Do you have seat work when they come in, or how do you start your class?
Well, like I said, it really depends. For the first week or two of the school year, I always start by standing at the door, having my door open, and I greet every student as they come in.
Oh, okay.
Every single day. It's not just for the first week, it's not for the last week, it's every single day that I'm here at work. And also, every time they leave, I'm at the door and I tell them goodbye.
Why is that?
I never had those opportunities as a student in elementary, middle school, or high school. Maybe I have, but not as much. And I know that would have made me feel a lot better, knowing that a simple greeting tells me that my teacher is just not a teacher because they want to be a teacher. This person is a teacher because they truly care. And I feel that's really a different hat that I wear. Is that I tend to be I tend to be kind of like a father figure to some. I tend to be kind of like an uncle, older brother figure to many of my students, and it's really that respect and that the relationships that we build with each other that means so much to the students. Yeah. And it really shows to each student that you're more than welcome here, and it gives them a reason to come back. I always like to tell students I'm a person of big respect. You respect me, I respect you back. This is going to be a positive learning environment for all, and so I need to be the one to start that tradition. I need to be the one to start that norm. And we start off as strangers at the beginning of the school year, and I have students crying on the last day of school. Not so much that I'm not going to be their teacher next school year, but more so like they tend to bond they tend to bond so much over the years, because I change my seating assignments every 2 weeks, so that way every student can say at the end of the school year, I've worked with everybody in the class. I'm not just stuck with one group or anything like that. Students didn't like it. They don't like it at first, but they're like, oh, can I be group mates with this person next week? I'm like, it's completely random. I don't do it. I just throw your names into the computer and it just generates random groups.
That's life, right?
It is. And as I greet the students, I always have maybe a good 3 to 5 minute, hey, how was your day? How was your weekend? Anything interesting you guys want to share? If nothing, I say, okay, so this is how it's going to go. I walk through the agenda with them, the objectives, and then I kind of tell them, today is going to be a little bit complex, but buckle up. Right? I try to make it seem less fearful for the students, less stressful, and I try to put myself in their shoes. What would it be like? How would I want to be addressed? How would I want to walk into a class if I was in their shoes, right? So I know I'm not going to be that one teacher who just goes straight to notes and stuff like that. And from time to time, I kind of throw in some spicy stuff, if I know that the lesson has been too stressful, I would have a day where we kind of just bond. We have team building activities.
Really?
Yeah.
I like your class.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that I'm not just gonna teach all of the content. I don't want to burn these students out, and I've learned over the years that the students that I get every year change. Some of them are very hardworking. Some of them they have other priorities. Some of them had to leave, still came to school sick because they didn't want to miss class. All of these different things, and so I adjust the way my classroom runs every single year. Even in a given school year, it changes over the course of the week, over the course of the semester, but it always starts with the greeting, kind of getting some information from the students, anything interesting, and then the lesson takes place, and then I always let students know what to expect the next day, and then it follows with a greeting as they exit. Yeah.
Aside from what you do here in the classroom, you have a lot of other responsibilities, including as State Teacher of the Year. What are you up to right now? What's on your agenda?
Well, right now, I'm planning, or right now I'm not really planning, but I've been asked to advise the freshman class of 2027 here at this high school. I've done it before. I advised the class of 2022, and I also am involved in, I haven't been involved so much, but I do plan to go back into the professional learning community, the math professional learning community, or the math POC, where we work together on discussing some issues with regards to the curriculum, state assessments, and how we can help other teachers within the system implement their curriculum and provide strategies and interventions for all the different types of teachers who teach math, and sharing resources. And so I have all of that going on, and then I do have other obligations here too at the school, I try to be active with our student council. I was the student council co-advisor last year, so I'm trying to keep myself busy. I try not to
I think you're succeeding in that.
Yeah, it feels very overwhelming, but I go home and I relax and I just kind of take a deep breath and I kind of reflect on the day, and I'm like, today was a good day. What will tomorrow bring, right? What does tomorrow have in store for me? I tend to think into the future a lot, and even now I'm just thinking like, okay, I'm already thinking about first day of school, how that's gonna go like, getting to know my students, hearing their stories, getting to know them inside and out, having them share even sometimes personal stories, like life stories, because that really gives me a better understanding as to how I should work with them. If they're having a lot of issues, with their mental health, or if they're struggling in any other way or form, I know to adjust accordingly to make room to accommodate their needs. I just love what I do, and I'm happy to be here.
Donovan, I want to thank you for what you do on behalf of our children here in the Marianas, and also congratulate you again. Thank you for your time today. Any final thoughts, either as spokesperson for teachers, as Teacher of the Year, or from your own personal thoughts?
Yeah. Well, I do hope that all of the teachers in the CNMI public school system, and even in the private schools, I hope everybody has a great school year. We don't know what this school year has in store for us, but we can always make it a good one. As our 2023 National Teacher of the Year, Rebecca Peterson, once said, every day may not be good, but there's always good. There's always one good thing, or something like that.
Yes, in every day.
Every day, yeah. And and she's a math teacher too, a high school math teacher, and so she brings so much inspiration to me, and just by talking to her, like I have so much plans for this school year, and I want to share that with my students, hear their stories, and letting them know that although today may not be good, there's always good in one good thing in every day. And for the teachers in the CNMI public school system, or even just in the CNMI in general, I hope you all have a great school year, and that I hope you continue to be resilient, to be hardworking for your students. My biggest message to you all is to enjoy your time with your students, because time flies, and before you know it, summer's here, and you're going to be having your students enter a new phase in their life, knowing that you made that difference. You made a difference in their life. So I want to thank everybody for contributing to our students' education, because our students are our future. And I want everybody to continue to work together to uplift the education profession and make learning and teaching fun for all. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Our guest today has been the 2023 CNMI State Teacher of the Year, Donovan Tudela. This has been your Humanities Half Hour. I'm Catherine Perry.
This program was supported by a We the People grant awarded to the Northern Marianas Humanities Council from the National Endowment for the Humanities. Any views, findings, conclusions, or recommendations expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily represent those of the National Endowment for the Humanities or the Northern Marianas Humanities Council.